black water. Oil slick black. The Strait of Malacca breathes in the dead hour before dawn. June 1947. Humid air thick enough to choke on. Salt and rot and diesel fumes hanging low over the waves. Somewhere out there, a ship. Alone. Silent. Then, tap, 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 tap. Morse code bleeding through static. A radio operator in Singapore jolts awake. Headphones clamped to his ears. Sweat already beading on his temple. He grabs his logbook, pen trembling. The signal isn't clean. It's frantic, broken, like fingers scrabbling against glass. He transcribes what he hears. SOS from Ourang Medan. Static swallows the next words. He leans closer, knuckles white. We float. All officers, including the captain, are dead. A pause, long enough to hear your own heartbeat. Then, probably whole crew dead. I die. Silence. Not empty silence. Hungry silence. The operator calls out. Voice cracking. Get the harbor master. Now. But the headphones stay on his ears, because 3 minutes later, another transmission. Fainter, slower, as if dragged up from the deep. I die. And then, nothing, just the hiss of dead air. Like the ocean itself is holding its breath. The Strait of Malacca, a liquid highway between worlds. 600 miles of water choked with mist and memory. June 1947. Post-war silence hangs heavy here. Ships move like ghosts through the haze. Every vessel carries secrets in its hold. Every captain knows. Some waters are best left uncharted. And somewhere in that soup of vapor and shadow, a ship drifts. No engine hum. No wake. Just dead weight riding the current. Ourang Medan. The name whispers through Dutch shipping logs. Ourang Medan. Man from Medan. A coastal freighter. Rust bucket. Workhorse. Nothing special. Except now, it's a needle in a foggy haystack. And it's screaming into the void. Radio silence after those final words. No position given. No coordinates. Just a name swallowed by static. But the signal was real. 3 ships heard it. 3 separate operators. 3 separate logs. Same words. Same terror bleeding through the ether. They triangulate. Rough estimate. 50 nautical miles off the northern coast of Sumatra, where the water runs deep, where the currents twist like serpents, where ships have vanished before and never been seen again. Dawn breaks. Pale light bleeds through the fog, and there, a silhouette, low in the water, listing slightly to port. No flags. No lights, no lifeboats missing, as if the entire crew simply stopped. Mid-breath, mid-thought, mid-prayer, the ship floats like a coffin waiting for its pallbearers, and the sea, patient, ancient, rocks it gently, like a mother soothing a dead child. 3 ships. 3 voices in the dark. The city of Baltimore American freighter. Steel hull groaning in the swell. The Silver Star merchant vessel, running cargo between ports that don't ask questions. And a third, Dutch. Name lost to time, or never recorded at all. All hear it. The same transmission, the same words. All officers, including the captain, are dead. Radio operator Willem, on the City of Baltimore, logs the time. 5:45 hours. His hands shake as he writes. He plays it back on the reel-to-reel. Listens again. The voice isn't panicked. It's hollow, like a man speaking through water, like a man already halfway to the grave. He alerts his captain. Captain hears the tape, orders a course change. But the Silver Star is closer. Her radio operator, a man named Henderson, catches something the others miss. A whisper beneath the words, a wet, ragged breathing, like lungs filling with something that isn't air. Henderson leans into his microphone, keys the transmitter. Ourang Medan. This is Silver Star. What is your position? Over. Static. Then, a gurgling sound. Not words. Just fluid and a single choked syllable. Kra. The transmission cuts. Henderson tries again. Ourang Medan respond. Over. Silence. He waits 60 seconds. 90. 2 minutes. Then, a final burst. Faint, fractured, cold, so cold. They're all looking at me. And then, a sound no radio operator should ever hear. A scream. Short, sharp, cut off mid-breath, like a throat closing around a final truth. Henderson rips off his headphones, stares at the dials. The needle on the signal strength meter hasn't moved. No fading, no drifting. The transmission didn't weaken with distance. It stopped instantly, as if a switch had been thrown, as if whatever was speaking had simply been silenced. Captain E.W. Cottingham stands on the bridge of the Silver Star, 42 years old, salt in his veins, war veteran, seen things that would curdle milk, but nothing like this. The distress call plays on repeat in his mind. I die. 2 words, not a plea, a statement, like signing your own death certificate. He orders engines slow. Binoculars to his eyes, scans the fog. His first mate, Jansen, stands rigid beside him. Dutch, superstitious, keeps a saint. Christopher medal tucked in his shirt. Captain, Jansen says, voice tight. That signal, it wasn't right. Cottingham lowers the glasses. Men are dying out there, Jansen. Not dying, Jansen whispers. Already dead. You heard the voice. No panic, no struggle, just acceptance. Cottingham ignores him, turns to the radio room. Henderson. Anything. Static hiss over the intercom. Then, nothing, Captain. Dead air since 6:17. 6:17. 4 minutes since the scream. 4 minutes of silence stretching like a noose. Cottingham makes the call. Prepare a boarding party. 2 men, armed. Jansen stiffens. Armed? Against what? Ghosts? Against whatever killed a ship full of men without firing a single shot. The lifeboat lowers. 2 sailors climb in. Tommy, 23. Cocky. War hero with a purple heart and a death wish. And Ruiz. Older. Filipino deckhand. Quiet. Knows the old stories of these waters. Crosses himself before stepping into the boat. They row toward the silhouette, oars cutting black water. No engine noise from the Ourang Medan. No gulls circling. No sound at all except the lap of waves against wood. Ruiz stops rowing, listens. Tommy nudges him. What? Ruiz points. Ahead, the ship looms larger now. Rusted hull, peeling paint, Dutch merchant colors faded to ghosts. But something's wrong. The angle. She's sitting too low in the water, like her holds are full, not of cargo, of weight, of something heavy, dragging her toward the abyss. Tommy grins. Easy rescue. Probably just carbon monoxide. Happens all the time. Ruiz doesn't smile. He's staring at the deck, at the railings, at the way the morning light catches something pale against the wood. Not rope, not canvas, fingers clutching the railing. Frozen white, reaching. The lifeboat bumps against the Ourang Medan's hull. No rope ladder waiting. No voice from above. Just the hollow thunk of wood on rusted steel. Tommy ties off the line, grabs the cargo net, hanging limp from the rail. Smell that? He says. Ruiz doesn't answer, because the smell hits you before your boots touch the deck. Salt rot, diesel, and underneath, something sweet, cloying, like meat left in a locked room. Tommy swings over the railing first, lands with a boot scrape that echoes too loud. Hello, he calls, voice bouncing off silent steel. Anyone aboard? No answer. Just the creak of the ship breathing, or pretending to breathe. Ruiz climbs up after him, hand on the knife at his belt, eyes scanning shadows. The deck stretches before them, empty. Chairs overturned near the mess table, a coffee cup, half full, sitting cold beside a playing card, the ace of spades. Face up, as if dealt seconds before the world ended. Tommy moves forward, boots silent on damp planking. Then he stops. Ruiz sees it too. Bodies, not scattered, positioned, like mannequins arranged by a mad hand. A sailor by the wheelhouse door. Keys buckled, face pressed to the deck, arms flung forward, as if crawling towards something, or away. Another slumped against the mast. Head lolled back, mouth open in a perfect O, eyes wide, clouded, staring at a sky he'll never see again. No blood, no wounds, no signs of struggle, just stillness, the stillness of a photograph. of a moment frozen mid-scream. Tommy approaches the first body, kneels, touches the man's shoulder, skin cold, rigid. "Captain!" he shouts toward the rail. We've got multiple DOA. Silence from the Silver Star. The fog has thickened, swallowing the mothership whole. Ruiz moves toward the bridge, steps slow, deliberate. He passes another body, this one sitting upright against a bulkhead. Hands pressed to temples, fingers dug deep into hair. Face twisted, not in pain, in pure, unfiltered recognition. As if he'd seen something he was never meant to see, and his mind had simply shattered. Ruiz stops at the bridge door. It hangs open, darkness inside, and from within, a whisper of movement, not wind, not rats, something else, something waiting. Ruiz pushes the bridge door open with the flat of his hand. The hinge screams, a sound so violent it feels like a sacrilege. Inside, darkness pools thick as oil. The air changes instantly, colder, heavier. That sweet rot smell intensifies, now layered with something metallic, like pennies left on a tongue, like fear made physical. His eyes adjust slowly. Shapes emerge from the gloom. A chart table, a radio set, and slumped over the radio key, a man. The operator. Head craned backward at an impossible angle, jaw unhinged, lips peeled back from teeth in a rictus that isn't quite a smile and isn't quite a scream. It's something older, something primal. His fingers still rest on the brass key, frozen mid-transmission, as if death reached through the wires and pulled him backward by the spine. Tommy appears behind Ruiz, breathing hard. "Jesus Christ," he whispers. The words die in the air. No echo. The room's swallows sound whole. They move deeper, past the operator, toward the captain's chair, and there he sits, captain of the Ourang Medan, upright, dignified, one hand resting on the wheel, the other clutching his own throat. His eyes, God, his eyes, are wide open, not clouded like the others, clear, vivid, locked on the doorway, as if he'd been watching them approach through the fog. Watching, waiting, knowing they would come. Tommy steps closer, reaches out, stops inches from the captain's face. "No wounds," he murmurs. "No blood. What the hell killed them?" Ruiz doesn't answer. He's staring at the captain's boots, at the deck beneath them. Scuffed, scratched, not from struggle, from scrabbling, desperate, frantic, clawing at the planks as if trying to dig through steel, to escape something coming up from below, from the hold. Ruiz turns slowly, looks down the companionway stairs. Darkness yawns beneath the bridge, a narrow throat leading into the ship's belly. And from that darkness, a faint warmth, not the damp chill of a dead vessel, something else, something breathing. Something that waited until the last man fell before it began to stir. The captain's logbook, lies open on the chart table, pages stiff with salt and something darker. Tommy flips it with a gloved finger. Last entry, dated June 25th, 1947. Routine cargo manifest. Coffee beans, textiles, machinery parts. Nothing unusual. Nothing that explains this. Ruiz moves behind the captain's chair, studies the dead man's face from inches away. No peace here, no resignation, pure animal terror, frozen in muscle and bone. The captain's eyes aren't just open, they're straining, bulging slightly at the edges as if his sockets couldn't contain what he'd witnessed. His mouth hangs slack, but his teeth are clenched. A contradiction. A man screaming silently while biting down on his own tongue. Ruiz notices the captain's left hand, not on the wheel as it first appeared, clutching something wedged between his thigh and the chair. A photograph, water-stained, faded. A woman and 2 children smiling on a sun-drenched dock in Medan. His family. His last thought wasn't of God or country. It was of them, and whatever he saw in his final seconds made him crush their image into his flesh, like a prayer. Tommy moves to the radio set, examines the dead operator's position, leans close to the man's ear, sniffs once, jerks back violently. What? Ruiz demands. Tommy's face has gone pale. Chemicals, he whispers. Smell it? Bitter almonds underneath the rot. Cyanide. But no vials, no residue on lips, no signs of ingestion. The poison didn't come from a bottle. It came from the air, from below decks, from the hold where the warmth breathes. Ruiz steps to the bridge windows, wipes grime from the glass with his sleeve, looks out at the silver star floating ghost-like in the fog. He raises his hand, waves, no response. The fog has swallowed everything. The world has shrunk to this steel coffin, and the thing stirring in its belly. He turns back to the captain, to the frozen crew, to the silence that isn't silent at all. It's listening. And in that moment, Ruiz understands. They weren't killed. They were witnesses. And some truths are so terrible they stop the human heart cold just to behold them. No bullet holes. No knife wounds. No signs of violence on flesh or ship. Just 60 souls extinguished in unison. A silent detonation of pure terror. The bodies tell a story the logs cannot. Faces locked, not in pain, but in revelation. As if each man had stared into an abyss, and the abyss had reached back with a truth too heavy for mortal minds to bear. The official theories begin to form, even as the boarding party trembles on that cursed deck. Carbon monoxide poisoning. Faulty engine exhaust seeping into living quarters. But the engine room is cold. Silent. Has been for hours. Nitroglycerin leakage. Volatile cargo shifting in rough seas. But the manifest lists no explosives. And nitro doesn't freeze men mid-stride with their eyes wide open in recognition. Then there's the theory whispered in Dutch naval archives. Nerve agents. Taboon. Sarin. Leftover chemical weapons from the Japanese occupation. being smuggled under false papers. A barrel cracks in the hold. Vapor rises through deck grates. Odorless, tasteless, death in a breath. Men collapse where they stand. Lungs seize. Nervous systems fire wildly before shutting down forever. But nerve agents don't explain the expressions. The sheer metaphysical horror carved into dead faces. They don't explain why the radio operator kept transmitting after his captain fell, why he kept speaking as his own body betrayed him, why his final words weren't help or poison, but cold, so cold. They're all looking at me. Who were they looking at? The crew? Or something else standing among them that only the dying could see? Ruiz kneels beside a young deckhand no older than 19. Boy's hands are clasped over his ears, fingernails torn bloody from digging into his own skull, as if trying to claw out a sound. A vision, a presence forced into his mind against his will. Tommy checks pulses that haven't beaten in hours, checks pupils dilated wide enough to swallow light. It wasn't gas, he murmurs, voice cracking. Gas doesn't make a man die afraid of his own shadow. And Ruiz knows he's right. Because shadows don't leave footprints. But on the deck, near the hold entrance, faint but unmistakable, are scuff marks, not from boots, not from dragging bodies. Circular impressions in the grime, like something heavy being rolled, or something with no feet at all sliding across the steel. Tommy's voice crackles over the handheld radio. Captain, we're boarding the lifeboat. Recommend immediate tow to Singapore. No survivors. Repeat, no survivors. Static hiss. Then Cottingham's reply, tight with urgency. Negative on the tow. Wait for naval escort. Something about this doesn't sit right, but it's too late. Ruiz is already backing toward the rail. He felt it first, a vibration through the soles of his boots. Not engine rumble. Deeper, a low thrumming from the belly of the ship, like a heartbeat waking up. He shouts to Tommy, points toward the hold hatch. Smoke curls from the seam, not black smoke of burning oil, not gray smoke of wood fire. This smoke is yellowish, oily. It moves wrong, coiling upward in deliberate spirals, as if tasting the air. Tommy grabs his arm. We're leaving, now. They sprint for the rail. Behind them, the smoke thickens, spreads, and with it comes the smell. Bitter almonds, sharpening into something worse. Something alive. A wet crackling sound rises from below decks. Not fire. Not quite. Like bones snapping in a sack. Like 1,000 insects hatching at once. Ruiz leaps into the lifeboat first. Tommy follows. They shove off hard against the hull. Oars dig into black water. 20 feet out. Tommy looks back. The smoke now pours from every vent, every porthole, every crack in the deck, and the ship groans. A sound no steel should make. A human sound. A death rattle. Then light. Blue-white light blooming beneath the deck plates. Not flame. Something colder. Something that burns without heat. The light pulses once, twice, and the Ourang Medan shudders violently, bow rising, stern plunging as if something massive has seized her from below. Coffingham's voice screams over the radio. Get clear! Get clear now. Too late. The hold explodes. Not outward. Inward. The deck caves like a stepped-on tin can. Steel screams. And from the rupture, no fireball, no debris, just that same yellow smoke boiling upward, thickening into a pillar that twists against the sky like a living thing. The ship lists hard to starboard. Water rushes her rails. Tommy and Ruiz row frantically. 50 yards. 100. Behind them, the Ourang Medan slides beneath the surface bow first. No dramatic plunge. No final cry. She simply vanishes, swallowed whole by water that doesn't even ripple in protest. The smoke lingers for 17 seconds, then dissipates, leaving nothing. No wreckage, no bodies, no proof she ever existed at all. Just two men in a lifeboat, shaking, silent, and the terrible knowledge that whatever killed that crew had not died with them. It had gone back to the deep, waiting, hungry, patient. The sea gives up no secrets. Not then, not now. Tommy and Ruiz return to the Silver Star, shaking with a cold no blanket can touch. Captain Cottingham orders immediate departure. Full steam for Singapore. No report filed that day. No distress call logged with maritime authorities. The story lives only in whispered conversations between sailors in portside bars, in dog-eared letters mailed home with instructions to burn after reading. The first printed account appears months later, not in a shipping journal or naval archive, but in a Methodist missionary newsletter from Virginia, then a Dutch-Indonesian newspaper in 1948. Then silence for a decade, until the story resurfaces in paranormal magazines. Hungry for ghosts, researchers dig. They find nothing. No Lloyd's Register entry for Ourang Medan. No Dutch East Indies shipping manifests listing her name. No crew lists. No death certificates. No wreckage reports from June 1947. The U.S. Coast Guard has no record of the Silver Star or Captain Cottingham ever existing. The entire event floats, untethered from history, a ghost story about a ghost ship. And yet, Dutch naval archives from 1947 contain fragmented radio logs referencing an unidentified distress signal in the Strait of Malacca. Real. Unexplained. Dismissed as equipment malfunction. And survivors of the Japanese occupation in Sumatra whisper of secret shipments. Chemical weapons, biological agents, scuttled or abandoned in the chaos of surrender. Ships that never existed on paper because they were never meant to exist at all. So what really happened out there in the fog? Did a freighter carrying forbidden cargo leak its poison into the lungs of innocent men? Did their terror birth a legend that outlived the facts? Or did something else ride those waves that morning? Something that leaves no paper trail because it belongs to older waters, deeper currents, truths that dissolve official records like salt in the sea. We may never know. The Ourang Medan exists now only in the space between fact and fear, in the silence after a scream, in the certainty that some ships sail waters no map can chart. And when the fog rolls in off the Strait of Malacca tonight, as it does every night, you can still stand on the shore and listen. Past the gulls, past the waves. Listen for the faintest tap-tap-tapping through the static. A signal without a source. A voice without a body. Saying the same 3 words over and over into the hungry dark. I die. I die. I die.